This need
Hi, Deborah Colleen Rose again, and we are continuing in the fundamental laws of the universe. We're almost done. We're getting there. Today we're talking about the laws of rhythm, and there are rhythms and cycles all over the place. There's times of day, there's times of the week, you have age, seasons, and the rhythm of aging, gestation, birth, adolescence, youth, aged, and then death. We as humans crave rhythm. Who doesn't love a good drum? We delight in it. Look as we dance. We are actually rhythm. But our busy modern lives tend to snap us out of it at every turn. When was the last time you noticed the cycles of the moon? Really paid attention to the time of day or the seasons in terms of diet? Really ate when you were just hungry instead of following a schedule? Schedules and rhythms are not the same. Being in sync with the natural rhythms cultivates inner awareness and teaches you to use outer resources wisely. It teaches you to recover, refresh, and refine the innate knowledge of who you really are. First, you will need to reassess habits, values, and patterns, and then make it your business to change with the seasons of life. All life exists within a sea of vibration, and rhythm is fundamental to all of life. From the basic activities of life, our relationships with animals on Earth, human society is structured around the moon's rhythm and deeply rooted in monthly rhythms that govern our actual sleep patterns, persisting even in isolation from our awareness of the lunar phase. Our lives contain a seeming infinity of rhythms with vibrations at the atomic and molecular levels and within biochemical reaction rates. The physiological correlates of the rhythms of the breath, the heartbeat, the brain, and they've been extensively studied and shown to be intimately related to our emotions, thoughts, and psycho-spiritual state. So you cannot separate them. They work together. According to researcher Frank Shear from Harvard Medical School, every cell of the body has an internal cellular clock that regulates the body's metabolism. According to Ayurveda, these internal clocks are linked to the rhythms of nature. When we connect our cellular clocks, and guess how many we have? Around 100 trillion. What happens with the natural ebb and flow of nature's cycles? It's easier to live a life of balance and vitality. When we ignore these cycles of nature, we disturb our inner clocks and life becomes a struggle. What follows are some simple ideas for developing rhythmic balance, an enduring fun and creative relationship with the rhythms of life. Everything vibrates and moves to certain rhythms. These rhythms establish seasons, they establish cycles, stages of development, and patterns. Each cycle reflects the regularity of God's universe. Masters know how to rise above negative parts of the cycle by never getting too excited or allowing negative things to penetrate their consciousness. Negativity lowers the vibration. Everything flows out and in. Everything has tides. All things rise and fall. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left, and rhythm compensates. The law of rhythm states that everything is moving to and fro, flowing in and out, swinging backward and forward. There's a high and low tide. Your chest even rises and falls when you breathe. Everything is flowing both in and out in accordance with this law. When you are on a downswing, do not feel bad. The swing will change and things will get better. There are good times coming. Think of those times. This law governs the movement of the planets in their orbits and also manifests in the mineral and vegetable kingdoms. Yes, I said mineral kingdoms. Men and women can observe this law in their mental, physical, and emotional states. You're not going to feel good all of the time. No one does. If you did, you wouldn't even know it. The low feelings are what permit you to enjoy the high feelings. So you have to feel low to know when you feel high. It sounds almost like a hippy dippy thing from the 60s. Only if you've been in the deepest valley can you ever know how magnificent it is to be on the highest mountain. So there will be highs and there will be lows. We have the ability to choose our thoughts because we're born with free will. You can decide what to think any moment of your life. Even when you're on a natural downswing, you can choose good thoughts with your free will and continue to move up toward your goal. This is very similar to the law of polarity. And one of the things I want to reestablish here is that we never forget that we have free will. The laws are in place, but free will is our choice on how we will use the laws to our benefit and how we will manage them. So to permit your mind to dwell upon the inferior is to become inferior and to surround yourself with inferior things. On the other hand, to fix your attention on the best is to surround yourself with the best and to become the best. The law of rhythm states that the energy in the universe is like a pendulum. Whenever something swings to the right, it must swing to the left. Everything in existence is involved is a dance, swaying, flowing, and swinging back and forth. Everything is either growing or dying. This law can even be seen in the cycles of economies. There's a high period, then there's a low period. Oh my gosh, do we even want to look at our stock market right now? Our seasons, you can see that the seasons are in a continuous flow of summer to winter. Everything goes through cycles, yet everything has a rhythm or a pattern. What seems to be random is actually very orderly. The law of rhythm also governs our economy, our health, relationships, and spirituality. Let's say that you're at peak potential with your health and fitness. If you realize you're at the peak, then you can foresee your health and fitness dropping some. However, instead of viewing this drop in health as something being wrong with you, you can now view it as a sign to rest your body. Then by law, you have to grow to a better and higher state of potential. Masters know how to rise above negative parts of a cycle by never getting too excited or allowing negative things to penetrate their consciousness. The key to success in mastering this law is balance. Never allow your emotions to swing too far to the left or to the right. In the universe, in life, and in all things, there is a time for all things. As we learned in the previous law, the law of polarity, there is a polar opposite to all things. In the law of rhythm, we discover there's a time for those things. Remember, without bad, there is no good. One must present itself to us fully to appreciate the other, and there is a reason and a season for both. Our task is to deal with these changes in the season responsibly. It is all in how we respond to these rhythms that make the difference. The point here is that we're not just flotsam and jetsam being thrown back and forth in the ocean. We actually can manage what's going on around us. We have control, and we are in charge of this even when things are not working to what we feel like is their maximum potential. That's the time to regenerate, to rest, and to reevaluate. So we can choose to accept them for what they are and ride the tide, or we can fight against them. The choice is ours. Just remember, if you choose to fight, you will only bring more of it into your life. If you ride the tide of change, you'll soon be facing a new season, but you're doing it with consciousness and deliberateness. Kevin Bacon used this as a reference to make a point in the movie Footloose, and I will use it here. Please note the original example is from the Bible. I personally love that a biblical reference was used to argue the importance of dance and celebration. To everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under the sun, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plan and a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to lose and a time to seek, a time to mend and a time to sow, a time to keep silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. And this is Ecclesiastes, oh my gosh, 3:1-9. The important thing to know about this law is that there is a time for everything, with no exceptions. If you can ride out the bad, knowing the good is on its way, then you have won half the battle. The other thing is knowing that the more you fight, the longer it will last. Because when you worry, your attention is focused on what you're worrying about, and that brings more of it. Think about it this way. The law of rhythm is like a wave in the ocean of life. If you relax and let the waves take you where they may, you may hit a few rough ones, but you also ride some amazing waves. It's kind of like surfing. If you stand rigid in the ocean, as the tide comes in, then the waves will beat you up. You will lose your footing, you'll tire, and eventually drown. So relax and ride the waves. So this is about becoming consciously aware and evaluating what is effective and ineffective, serving a purpose or not, and whether the purpose is in support of the highest good or not, and whether it brings joy or not. So here's an activity you can try. List 3 times in your life you attempted to do something and the entire activity or project fell apart, only to go smoother at a later date. What was the difference? Was the difference external or internal? And how much of the changes were conscious decisions on your part? And how do you feel about the comparisons? And what did you learn from these experiences? So have a wonderful day, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.